Okay, so you've seen all the preview videos that everybody's released. You've been watching copious hours of all your favourite creators playing the pre-release of Cities Skylines 2, and now you've asked for my honest feedback on the state of play after over 150 hours in this version of the game that I've been playing over the past weeks or so. So let us dive in. Today we have a paid partnership with BetterHelp. Many find the stresses and strains of work and just life in general can interfere with their happiness or prevent them from achieving goals in life. Is this you? I know what it's like working full-time, married, father, kids, health issues, and sometimes things just become a lot to cope with. Often, just talking about your problems can be a great help, and BetterHelp can connect you with a credentialed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. To find out more, click the link in the description or pinned comment or visit betterhelp.com/biffa. Well, you might be thinking, I don't want to talk face-to-face with someone. Well, the app has you covered because you can have your therapy session via a phone call or via messaging, as well as, of course, a video call if you like. To start, fill out the questionnaire and a therapist that suits your needs is matched, usually within 48 hours. And if at any time you want to change your therapist, that's okay. There's no additional cost to switch. Over 4 million people have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier and a happier life, so why not give it some thought? If you think it could help you, or you're just curious to see what it's all about, click the link in the description or pinned comment or visit betterhelp.com/biffa. Clicking the link will also support my channel, but gets you a 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. First of all, I'd like to just sort of get this one out there that I do think it's unfair to compare Cities Skylines 2 on launch to Cities Skylines 1 after 8 years of updates, DLC, and the most heavily stocked workshop you will ever see in your life. I think if we fast forward 8 years down the line, and I'm already 50 seconds in, I've deviated from my notes completely. If you fast forward 8 years down the line, and if I just imagine what Cities Skylines 2 is going to be, it just blows my mind, because we know there's going to be DLC. That's the way it works with Paradox. That's their business model. But the things that they can add, the base game of CS2 as it is, I do think it's amazing. There's some things in there I think, wow, I can't wait for updates, for DLC, for mods to get hold of these things and take the game. But anyway, yeah, that was the first thing I was going to say. Also, Colossal Order are making the PC and console versions themselves. They're not having another team, developers, whatever it was, do the console version. That's why we saw a bit of disparity with CS1, PC and console. So Colossal Order are doing it all. So any design choices that they make, they have to take into consideration both of those. I'm not a game developer. I'm assuming there's certain things you can do on PC that aren't going to work on console. Well, we know that's obvious, isn't it? If you play with thumbsticks as opposed to keyboard and mouse, controller instead of keyboard and mouse. So, you know, I'm keeping that in mind as well with my comments. So I've got some positives that I want to share with you over all the things that I've seen and enjoyed and played. I've got some concerns as well. I'm going to be totally honest. Paradox, you know, they don't see these videos beforehand. They've allowed us to be totally honest with any concerns that we have. All that they asked was that any concerns we have, we give to them as well, which I've done very clearly. All the creators have. We'll talk about that a bit in a moment. I've got a little Q&A. I've got some questions from some of my followers and viewers on Discord. If you're not on Discord yet, there'll be a link on the screen. There'll be a link below. Come and join us there. Burgeoning Cities Skylines community. We were the largest one for a while, but Paradox, they've got the marketing clout behind them. They're back in #1, but we're the second largest Cities Skyline community on Discord, which I can be proud of that. Thank you, everybody. And then my overall feelings at the end. I'm going to tell you, do I think the game is worth buying? What are my overall gut feelings of the game? I'm going to be totally upfront and honest with you about that. So I'm just going to have a very quick sip of tea, and I'm going to do the positives first. So let me give you my thoughts on playing. We all know I've done videos before. I won't go into all the details. I played a very early version, very early version, a few years back, that had a few of the things that are in the game now, and they just wanted to get our feedback. what we've been playing to make these videos over the past, these 3 pre-release videos we were allowed to do, what we've been playing has been the nearest to the final version of the game so far, and it has been fun. It has been fun. The little sort of pause I'm putting on that is when it first started, it was difficult because you come into the game and your initial reaction is it's an upgraded version of Cities Skylines 1. You know, the graphics are better, and then they got even better, didn't they, with a recent 4K update. Graphics are better, there's new things to do, the GUI's new, everything's new, the music's new. And you've all been sort of thinking in your heads, like I was, you know, there's what you want Cities Skylines 2 to be, the sequel to one of the most popular games of all time, and a game that we all love. And like me, you've got thoughts in your head. I want to see this, I want it to do that, I want it bigger, better, more. And that's like the feedback I gave to them a few years ago. Everything. I want everything. And everything isn't in the game. So very quickly it was like there was a bit of, oh, it doesn't do that, or it hasn't got this, and I'll come back to that in my concerns. But overall, I have really enjoyed playing the game, and since I'm sort of away from the pressure of these 3 pre-release videos, because that has been a bit, I mean, you know, I feel, smallest violin in the world about the problems that I've got playing Cities Skylines too early, but you know, it is a job still, so there are certain pressures and guidelines and things that happen when you're trying to make these videos, and trying to get them all done, and it's not the same as just playing a game, and that's the same with Cities Skylines 1. Just playing for fun is entirely different than playing to make a video. So now I've had a bit of time as well in amongst these 3 videos to just play and have fun, be back on any little bugs and things that we find. I've been really enjoying it, and now I'm past these 3 videos that I was on. You know how it worked. We were given a time limit, 30 minutes, and an hour, and also we could only go up to certain targets. So I did feel, slightly negative point, I did feel my creativity was like really hampered. I didn't want to do a Let's Play as my first videos. I wanted to have all sorts of other ideas and things to do, and that was a bit cramped. But now we're past that, I've been really enjoying just playing. I've got in my head the map I'm going to use next, and I've been doing some tests on it, and I've been playing, and I think the city that I'm sort of playing for fun now, I feel a bit less constrained. I actually think it's so much better than the city, and I haven't even got that far into it. It's so much better than the city that you've seen that I was doing in the pre-release videos. But during that time, I was still learning the game. There's a lot to learn, so it's been an interesting process. Another sip of tea. And it's been good because there's been lots of creators involved, as you've seen, lots of mod makers, asset makers, all the people in the community. We've all been in the Discord together. CO, Colossal Order, Paradox have been in there, and they've been listening. This is another positive. So it's been great that we've all been together. We could share this experience. We can help each other out as we learn. There's been so much help between the creators. You know as well as I do, our community is the best community ever. It's just so many great and nice viewers, and all the people behind the scenes, the content creators of all the different sorts, are just fantastic. So somebody will type in the Discord, I'm trying to do this thing and this thing's popped up and I don't know what this thing means and how do I make that thing happen. You'll get like 3 or 4 replies saying, I had that the other day, and if you do this and that thing helps with that, and it's like, oh, fantastic, you know. Everybody's so helpful, and it's just been great. Really, really good. CO, Colossal Order, I'm going to call them CO, a bit easier. CO and Paradox listen as well. So we've had like feedback parts. We could sort of feedback that this hasn't really worked, that's missing. I mean, the big things that have come out from that are the terrain lines, the contour lines. We were all like, we need the contour lines, because otherwise all we're doing, which is what you saw in the first sort of episode, it would just flatten everything. No contour lines, you've got to eyeball it doesn't work. So they thought, they added it, they listened. Why it wasn't in the first place, I don't know, but, I'm not a game dev. I understand you probably got lists, priorities, certain amount of time, blah, 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 all that sort of thing. So I'm being realistic here. As much as I'd like to stand on my soapbox, I want everything, it's just not possible. So I understand. But they listened and they added that in, and that was great. And the other thing they did, and I'd like to think this is the little thing that I got added into the game, was a big feedback post about we've got no, you can stop left-hand turns, you can stop right-hand turns, but you can't stop straight on. So when you're trying to do these junctions and intersections and things, you don't want them going straight across your intersection instead of along the highway. You've seen that happen. And the next update, they added it in. I'm still pushing for that to be lane specific instead of the whole road. So then you can have dedicated turning lanes that we all want without necessarily putting in asymmetric roads. We'll keep pushing for that one, but I'm pretty sure at the point we're at, and this is just me, I don't know for definite, that it's like, we're a week away, less than that from release, the 24th, what's the date today? 12th, 15th, yeah, over a week away from release. And, they're going to be bug fixing, they're going to be optimizing. So, I would imagine they're probably not going to add any more features. That's just my thoughts and feelings on that. Anyway, regular updates. We had lots of updates. So we're all playing and updates will come out. We fixed this, we fixed that. We'll get a nice list, which was really handy. Oh, squeaking microphone arm. And unfortunately, one of those updates was what messed up my episode 3. So I was working towards this target. I was going to build a massive city. Halfway through, they dropped this update. And it was like, oh, this is great because it's got like all the 4K textures. It looks amazing. But there was a little bug in it which messed up the cities. And I was like, ah. And then they did fix it. They fixed it the next day. But by then, I had to have the video done. I was editing and rendering and all of the good stuff. Literally, and uploading right up until the wire. That was literally done half an hour, 20 minutes before the video was due to go live. So it was really last minute. So, but yeah, the update's out. They fixed the bugs. A few of us replied. It's all working. It's good. So, they listen. And that is really, really good. And I was glad to be a part of that along with everybody else. So regular updates. Somebody said to me, what sort of mistakes did I make when playing early on? The biggest mistake I would say is a lot of the knowledge I learned from Cities Skylines 1, because it has changed so much. And we all learnt that as we've watched the dev diaries. You have watched the dev diary deep dives on my channel, haven't you? Hey? So instead of... The one big thing is like what we used to do. I'm going to build some houses in this brand new area. So you put an intersection off the highway. You plan out your roads. You say, they need all the services. You plop all the services in. Then you say, now I'm going to make the area nice, put some parks in. Now I'm going to give them some transit because they all like that as well, so they can get around. Then I'll zone my stuff and off we go, and everybody will move in because it's a fantastic area to live. It doesn't work the same as that mostly. And it's hard to explain. And I won't go into all the details now, because that's not what this video is about. But that sort of thinking is different. So then when you're playing, you'll sort of do that and then realise you're running out of money and go, oh, what's going on? This isn't right. But actually, it's you that's got it wrong. And me. I was part of that you when I was me. Yeah, I need some more tea. So just those things, the gameplay mechanics of the game. It is deeper to a certain extent. There is a lot of things going on, but you can play it without knowing all of that. You can sort of work your way through. And that is great. That is what I wanted for a new game. Not just Cities Skylines 1 with everything looking better. I want new game mechanics. I want new things to find out. That is what excites me. I love detailing. I love all of that. We'll come back to that in a bit in my concerns section. Foreboding. The gameplay mechanics, I really, really enjoy that. And it excites me as to what's coming up as well. When they release again, these are just my thoughts, I don't know. When they release their first Industries DLC, and it really takes hold of this new production chain stuff that we got, which at the minute is only you only sort of mess with it via taxes to promote some stuff over other stuff. But when they really get hold of that and make some mods that will dive into it, or DLC, that is going to be chef's kiss. I'm looking forward to that. More positives after another sip of tea, a lot of talking. New gameplay addition. So I've got listed here deeper production chains. Already spoke about that. 4K graphics. I didn't think the game looked that bad originally, I'll be honest. I know the details weren't quite there when you zoom in. My last video, episode 3 of the pre-release videos, just zooming in on that college from before and after was individual bricks with the grout and the little stones in the bricks. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Before, it was just like a bit fuzzy. And the graphics, they look good with 4K graphics, and they look fantastically amazing when you use the what I'm going to call the cinematic camera, the photo mode and all of that. And you can just adjust so much. You've seen it in the videos. The settings there, I don't even know what half of them do, but the ones I do, when you use them, it just takes the game to another level for photography mode. Now, if that can be added into the game, so it's not just in photograph mode, but that sort of takes over from your LUTs, your LUTs, that would just be amazing. But yeah, the graphics, enjoying the graphics immensely. The new citizen game mechanics, sort of spoke a bit about that, how that works, what the people want, what they need, from where they need to go, where they're going to live. That is a lot of stuff. I mean, this new little city I've been playing with, and even the one I had in episode 3 of the pre-release stuff, you start getting up to the point where you're suddenly going, I haven't got any high residential demand. Why is that? Because in Cities Skylines 1, it was unlocked. People wanted it. Now it's like there's got to be a reason for it. It's more, in inverted commas, realistic game-wise. So you need to do stuff to make people want to move in, single people to want to move in, that are then going to want to live in apartments and flats and want the lower rents because they're going to university or there's jobs available. So there's all these different things to take into consideration, which I'm really enjoying learning. And the more I learn, the more I can tell you people as well. So watch this space. Better road placement, really enjoying that. It seems like the placing of roads has been relaxed, so you really can get away with a lot more. We haven't got anarchy, which that'll be a mod at some point, but as I showed you in my episode 3 of the pre-releases, you can sort of use the upgrade feature and you can move a road within a few meters of itself either side or something like that, or half a meter or whatever. Enough of the sort of fine tuning. So yeah, loving that. I love all the new features that have been added that are similar to mods that we've had before. So I was trying to think, I never really kept a big list as we went through all the dev diaries, but what sprang to mind, realistic population. Yeah, we do get huge amount of population in all the houses, skyscrapers. You'll get one family in a house, you'll get a block of flats, and there'll be suddenly 90 people living in it. No car despawning, that's good. So people get stuck in traffic, they'll turn around and go elsewhere. That works really well. They've got to park somewhere, that works really well. Outside connections, which we've seen a lot of, so we now can connect to the outside to bring people in for the cargo, for all sorts of stuff like that. Add your own outside connections, as many as you want, and for power and for water, so that's like a huge addition. The mod that used to be called cinematic camera, so now we've got like the photo mode and the I can't think of the exact word, but the mode that you use for making the time lapses. So that is good. Could be better, but it's it's a start. It's in there. Roundabout builder, so we can just plot roundabouts basically, can't we? Which work really well. Intersection marking tool, sort of, yeah, because you've got basically better markings on the roads and they look better and they work more logically. So it's not in there in the sense you can do it yourself, but what's in the game works much better. Parallel road tool, I can say that one. Good job there wasn't a rural in there as well. I would have really fallen over my tongue. Yep, so that's in there. That works well. Ultimate eye candy, sort of. Again, it's only in the photo mode, the time-lapse mode, not in the full gameplay yet. I think, just a little aside on that, I think the reasoning behind that is it's all tied together with the maps and the seasons and the longitude, latitude, the hemisphere. So each map does already look different, and we've had a few people, and the weather's different. We had a few people that have played a map and gone, mine's really dark, mine's really light. Why are my trees turning into autumn colours the wrong half of the year? And then everyone sort of goes, oh yeah, of course, it's in a different hemisphere, it's a different part of the world. So I think they're going from the angle of everything, you set all those things on a map and it will look this way and it will act this way and the seasons will be this time, like in real life. So that's good, makes sense. I don't doubt for a minute there will be a mod that will come out that would add LUTs and stuff like that, or whether it comes in an update, who knows. But anyway, what else is added? Forest brush, so that's good. So you can mass place down trees a lot. There is the little thing with the trees, I'll talk about that a bit later actually, but forest brush is in there, so that's good to a certain extent. Some of the traffic manager functions, so we've talked about the lane arrows, you can't adjust the traffic lights and things, which is a shame. So there's still room for a mod like traffic manager to come out. Any others that I haven't thought of, let me know in the comments below. But as far as I'm sort of aware, that is everything that's come to my mind at the moment. Really loving the development tree and the development points. Huge change. I always felt overwhelmed in Cities Skylines 1. You unlock a load of stuff, and most of it the citizens want straight away. And then as time goes on, with all the content creator packs and DLCs adding all this new stuff, it's like you unlock a level and there's like 50,000 items available to you, and it's just so much. Whereas now, if you don't want to unlock them, you don't have to, and you can play. I've played the game through quite a few levels, got all my unlockable, points for unlocking stuff, and just not used them. I haven't needed to until I've sort of expanded to a certain size, and then I've needed the bigger this or the further reaching that, and then I choose to unlock it, and I love that. It's good. And the much larger vanilla map sizes, which is really good as well. Yeah, they're not quite, I don't think I haven't got the exact measurements, I don't think they're quite the size of Unlock All with 81 tile mod, but what's going to be possible? I mean, you've seen on the maps, we get the playable area and the unlockable area on vanilla, and then you've got all this map beyond it. My question to you is, what's going to happen with all this map beyond it? It's there. It's not just there for looks, is it? Are we at some point going to have well, it wouldn't be an 81 tile mod, and unlock all the tiles, however many it is mods, and suddenly maps are just so big you don't know what to do with yourself. So there we go. That's a lot of positives. There's a lot of positives there. I'm sure there's more, but that's what sort of came to mind. So how about my concerns? Let's just talk about those for a few minutes. So some of the concerns I have, some of the missing quality of life items that I would just think, if you've got vanilla Cities Skylines 1, if you've got access to the workshop and you like to use a few mods, what are the ones that you get first of all? Prop line tool, or some way just to place trees and bushes and props in a line would just be great. Because at the minute, when you're trying to place things, it is rather annoying because of this new mechanic of the way the trees grow. So again, I can see from a gameplay perspective why they did it. You place a tree as a sapling. Over time, it will grow, and eventually it will be a big full-grown tree, like a year later or something. It starts getting to a large size, and then it will get bigger. The gameplay reason behind that is because using them in forestry, you get a different amount of wood depending on the life of the tree. So you plant a new forest for a forestry map, you don't instantly get 100% of the wood that was possible. You've got to wait for time. So, there's that realistic feel to it. A lot of the creators that have had access to this behind the scenes have fed back. We really want like a toggle. So if you can just want to place a full-grown tree, you can place a full-grown tree for decorating purposes, because you'll probably notice, that's the arm of my chair, by the way, it keeps making that noise as I'm leaning on it. You'll probably notice with a lot of the videos that go out, unless you did what $2.20 did, which was fill his map with trees and then leave his game running for 12 hours to grow all the trees. I mean, that was just like next level brain thinking there. You'll notice a lot of maps look a bit bare because all the gaps in between where you can easily on City Skylines use a forest brush or place some trees, and it just looks extra nice and green. It fills a gap and it looks good. Now you've got to individually place things down, and then you've got to wait, however long for them all to grow. So prop line tool, just sort of add on to this, the way the tree growth thing works. When you're placing it down, obviously it's very small because it's going to be like a sapling. Not too small, you can see it, but it's not the fully grown tree with all the foliage and how wide it is then going to be, the diameter of this tree. So when you place it down, you'll notice in the videos there is then like a little dotted blue line around it, which is showing you the full diameter of that tree or bush or whatever. The bushes, actually not all of them grow, you place them down, they are the size they are. But the tree, so you'll place a little sapling, it'll have this extra bigger, larger blue dotted line around it showing you its eventual diameter. If you overlap that when you're placing the next tree, it deletes the previous tree. So you can't just spam a load of trees easily. Click, 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 click. You'll be deleting a load as well because they're overlapping, they're too big. So a way to toggle that's going to be like one of the first mods that comes out if they don't add it to the base game. Little bit annoying, but it's one of those things where I can see why they've done it. They've had all the feedback. They're now at the point where they've just got to get the game finished. So some of these things, I think the first patch, or the first or second patch, first little mini update that comes out of fixing a few things like this, we're going to see a lot of these sort of honed. So yeah. Landscaping tools. Now, we've seen landscaping. It's basically free at the moment, which, you know, who cares? Because even with the... Once you get to landscaping, money was never a problem in Cities Skylines 1. So all landscaping meant in vanilla was you end up clicking the button to buy more dirt or sell your dirt, you know, and it doesn't cost that much. So the fact that it's free doesn't bother me. The fact that there's no water options, you can't place water sources. You can make rivers if you sort of dig a trench out and have some water run through. It's a bit... takes some time, but yeah, just not the ability to place water. Bit of a bummer. Another concern is a concern as in it's a shame it's not in the game now, but it's not a concern for going forwards. You're not going to be wanting for this sort of stuff, but more decoration, assets and props other than just some trees and bushes. As soon as you're able to make mods and assets in the workshop or whatever happens, you're going to be inundated with every tree and bush under the sun. But until then, it's a shame there's not more options, and in the base game as well. So yeah, there's that one. And other things like benches or, you know, bins and things we've got used to where we can sort of, you know, we have a little green space, we make our own park, we put some paths, we put some benches, put a bin, put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a few trees and bushes. You know, you sort of lose that. You basically got paths, trees and bushes. So keys as well, key walls. We haven't got any key walls. We've got the cut and fill thing, which is where it's called cut and fill, but a lot of people go like, what's that? Even though it was in the dev diary. So you draw a road, and if there's on one side of it, or either side, or both, the land is higher, it will sort of cut into it, and it'll have like a wall effect either side of the road, like it's holding back the dirt. Or if you draw a road and one or both sides the land goes away from the road, it will do a fill, and that's how people are doing key walls. It's a bit finicky. Once you get the hang of it, I think it looks good and it works really well. You can do it with pedestrian roads. I think you can do it with paths. I might not be sure on that one. I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me. But definitely the pedestrian roads and the roads. And I've seen a couple of creators do some great things with this cut and fill mechanic that I really want to get my head around, that just look fantastic, with building, you know, houses, whatever, commercial properties, industry on different levels, and having this cut and fill with like that key wall effect. So it doesn't have to be by water, you know, it can be anywhere. And yeah, so that went from a concern of not having keys to actually the cut and fill's good, but just having some normal keys would have been nice as well. So all of these things, yeah, we're probably going to have mods that fix a lot of these things, but if it could be in vanilla for console players too, for when that eventually comes out. Sorry, console players, not till next year, but I can understand why. Maybe talk about that in a minute. But yeah, getting as much into vanilla as possible that is also going to work for consoles. So that's one of those things. That's why I mentioned that in the beginning, because like prop line tool, I'm not, I use console, I play on console, I've got on Xbox, I play FIFA, you know, so I use a controller, but I tried Cities Skylines 1 with a controller. I didn't even last 5 minutes, but there are people out there that can do it. So maybe you would say, yeah, prop line tool would be no problem on a controller. For me, it'd be like a nightmare. So maybe that's why these things aren't in. I don't know. That again, that's just my thoughts. Don't hate on the devs for the decisions that they make. Let's see what happens in the future. Yeah, no news on the workshop and mods yet. That's a concern. We've all seen the Paradox mods on the main menu. It's mentioned there. We've had this sort of discussion before, that has been seen before with Surviving Mars, and Paradox ran their own sort of modding collection. You could upload things to that sort of instead of the workshop. Whether that's what's coming or what, I don't know. So on the last official Cities Skylines stream, they said there will be news on the mods and the assets and the workshop stuff and all of that coming soon. So we'll just have to be patient and wait and see what that is. But I was hoping that would have been sorted by now and ready for when the game comes out, because I know there's a lot of asset and mod creators champing at the bit to do things, but we're going to have to be patient a little bit longer. Another concern, no bikes. I mean, what the heck? As in pedal bikes, you know. We've got motorbikes, plenty of Harleys everywhere. but no pedal bikes at all, which to me, I mean, people, I do sort of half understand they're like instantly, they're holding it back deliberately for a bike DLC. Okay, fair enough, if they were, but I don't know, in my mind, I would still let people cycle and have a bike path and an all pedestrian path. But I would also still think there could be 100 things you could do in a fantastically amazing, Amsterdam-inspired, Holland-inspired biking DLC. So many things you could add. So you wouldn't take away from that. So I don't know why there's no bikes. It does seem to me a little bit odd. So I'm sure we'll see it at some point in the future. Couple of other things. I love the fact you can toggle stop signs to give. A lot of people have looked at the menu and gone, there's no giveaway signs. Giveaway is the default. So if you have a smaller road going onto a bigger road, it will probably give you a traffic light. Then when you toggle the traffic light off, or the stop lights, you then get give way. Have I got that right? Or do you toggle it off and you get stop signs, then you get give way? It's in there anyway. I think it goes straight to give way. And then you can add stop signs if you want, or if there's stop signs there, you can toggle them off and you get give way, something like that. So give way is there. You can't place them. They're just sort of like the default, which makes sense. I don't think there'd be many roads. I mean, particularly in the UK, until you get down to teeny tiny country lanes, but even then you might still get a give way sign, at a T-junction. From what I can remember, particularly with the stop signs, if you get rid of a traffic light and you get stop signs, let's just say it's a 4-way junction, you can't choose which ones have the stop signs. So all four roads will have the stop signs, which isn't right, because you'd have one road as the main road and then the other two that are coming on with the stop sign. So that's a little thing. I'm sure that'll just be changed at some point, because they obviously have the ability there to do it, because you've got the ability to turn on and off crossings, and you just right click on the road and it will just remove the crossing when you pick that option. And you can do that again if it's the same 4-way intersection with the crossing on each side. You can individually move it off the road rather than clicking in the middle of the crossing, in the middle of the intersection, and removing all 4 crossings. So the ability's there. I just think it's one of those little things that it will get done. At the minute, it's probably, I'm sure, not a high priority thing, with only like less than whatever it is, a week to go or something. So yeah. And also with the turning off the left, the right and the straight on, great, I love it, but I want to be able to choose which lane, not just the whole road. This whole road can't go right, or can't go left, or can't go straight on. I want one left lane, but I want the right lane to go right, and no straight on in that one, but straight on in the left lane. I want to choose. Again, probably not super high priority. I bet it'll be added, no problem. Now I just want to talk a bit about performance, because someone will say to me, what spec have you got? What's it run like? Do you think it's going to run well on this, on that? We have still not played the final version of the game. Even when, because now we know the embargo's lifted for next, the 19th. What day is that? Thursday? Quickly checking my calendar. Yeah. Next Thursday. So only a few days for you when you see this video. That will be the very latest version of the game. We are now in the final version of the game, but they're still bug fixing, and tweaking some things. What was really interesting was, the performance was what it was, and then we had the 4K texture update. And when the game had that update, you might be thinking, wow, now it's like taking the graphics to a whole nother level, and it didn't impact the performance at all, which was fantastic. Again, I'm not a developer, I don't understand necessarily all the ins and outs of this, but my understanding is it loads the graphics, the extra graphics, the textures straight from your hard drive. So a fast hard drive is going to be more important for those sort of higher res graphics. So they're not loaded for every single item on your entire map across all the tiles everywhere, which is already making my, don't worry GPU, it's okay, you can calm down. So whether that's some sort of new technology or whether that's something that a lot of games use, I don't know. But that's how it works. So a lot of concerns to do with, they upgraded the specs, what the minimum specs were, what the recommended specs were, and that sort of thing. But all I can say is, like I said, there's no point me giving you facts and figures, and I've worked it out, counted this many FPS. Until the game is released and it's done, people will do that. But there are people that were in our group, content creators and whatnot, that had lower than minimum spec CPUs and GPUs, and they were playing the game. They weren't expecting to play it in 4K, and they weren't, with everything high, the sort of top of the range stuff. But they were playing the game and, been able to play it. So to me, that sort of says, if you're going to put out minimum specs, I would personally sort of err on the side of caution, because, there are going to be some that have got less than that. But I think you're still going to be able to play the game, and I just think you're going to be fine. I just don't think that everybody with a graphics card from a few generations ago is going to be able to expect to play in 4K on most games. Whether things like DLSS or, these sort of technologies get added later, which I'm assuming will help with that sort of thing, who knows? But there is a heck of a lot going on, and this is something the developers have said, it will use whatever you've got in your PC. So it doesn't all just use one core, it's using all of my cores. It doesn't just use a bit of my graphics card, it's using all of my graphics card. I've got a 3900X CPU, which I'm about to switch out for 5800X 3D I've had in the cupboard, and I haven't felt the need to do so. So that tells you that the game's not super taxing on my CPU. I've got a 4090 graphics card, and I basically had everything on high in the last video, and with the super 4K textures and all that sort of thing. And even since then, we've had a few little comments of, there's so many settings in the game that you can change to do with graphics. There is so much, and we've been given some feedback on, look, if you change this a bit and tweak that a bit, it will give you more frames per second. And I was like, I didn't realize that. I thought I'd tried everything, and that's really helped. So, I don't think it's going to be as bad as some people have sort of said in the comments and things that it's going to be, because a lot of the footage up until very recently has been on older versions of the game, as you'd understand, because we're updating it all the time. So, and I just think that'll be another one of the things that will improve, but I'm still putting it under my concerns, because it is a very high bar of entry. But again, I've mitigated that concern with some honest comments about how there are those that are playing it with lower graphics cards and CPUs. So your mileage may vary, everybody's system's different. And I'm sure once it gets out for consoles, you're going to have a fine time and you'll have no problems. So not too many concerns. There's a lot more things I'm positive about than I have concerns about. And some of the concerns I think will be sorted over time, which is good. So a little Q&A. I put this out on my Discord, had some questions come back, and I thought I would just answer some of these, because I know that you want some answers to some of these questions as well. The first one was about traffic. I sort of covered that one in my last video. You do get traffic in the game. You do need to have bigger cities. So a lot of the cities you saw for a long time, and even the bigger cities, like the one that $2.20 made for one of the earlier trailers and stuff, and even the one I made for the earlier trailer, that was an older version of the game. Things have changed. But yeah, you start getting into the high density stuff and you will get traffic. So streets won't just look empty and bare all the time, really, once you get going. Somebody wanted to know a little bit more about the demand meters, because they've seen several creators place huge areas in one go and stuff just grows in so fast. It feels like an infinite demand mod. And I've also seen some that have problems all over the place with things like not enough customers, high rent, but you still see houses popping regardless, and demand just seems infinite, especially for low density. Yeah, again, that is down to balance. We've had quite a lot of balance changes with updates over the past week. That update that came with the 4K, like I said, did have some bugs in it, which is why my video sort of changed halfway through from what I was initially going to do, and that affected a few of us. Some had already finished their videos and it was fine. Others had sort of done what I'd done, left it later waiting for an update, and in my city that caused a lot of not enough customers, high rent. That was the sort of issue that has been fixed. One of the cities that I'd sort of been playing around on, I ran it in the new update, and it was fine. So yeah, that's sorted. But it's not infinite demand. You will get certain things that you'll place down, and the way the game now works, suddenly your city is more attractive to people on the outside. So they'll go, oh, I want to go to their university. I want to go and study there. They've got places to live that I can afford. They've got places to shop that I can afford. I'm going to go there. So you'll suddenly get a demand then for different things. So Definitely not infinite demand, and definitely there was versions of the game where low density just seemed to be all that everybody wanted. But again, that does come down to how you play the game. So yeah. Would love me to talk about how I started to think differently about the game. I can imagine I went into it thinking it was a bit like Cities Skylines 1, but got pleasantly surprised when it was different. Sort of spoke about that a little bit earlier. Yes, it is different. I was pleasantly surprised. How I changed my mindset. They would like to know about that. Yeah, it's just basically playing the game and being open to learning new things and new ways of doing stuff. So not just, well, I used to do that and that worked, now it doesn't work. Think, well, why doesn't it work? And there is a lot of information in the game, particularly next to the demand bar thing. There's a button you click next to that. I don't think I showed it much in my videos, but you click on it, it pops up a window and it shows you each of the demands. So you've got the 3 residential ones, so the low, mid and the high, and the commercial and the industry and the offices, so the 6 different demands, and it will tell you why that demand is either high or low, and it gives you just a little bit of information, like it's like a little plus and a minus. It's, you know, you might have no industry thing demand and it will say, you know, a red minus. That's because there's no I'm spitballing here trying to think what it might say. There's no people to work the jobs, but it will say it a lot simpler. Or you might have a really high residential demand. It'll be a nice green, I think it was a green, not a green tick, a green plus as opposed to a red minus, and it might say taxes are low. So you get the ideas of what affects what. So you can use that information then to shape your city. So that's good. And also with the production chain, how it works now, the way you can tweak your taxes to really push certain production over other production, so you can sort of fine-tune your city. Or if you find that your people really like chicken sandwiches, you can up your chickens and up your bread, you know, that sort of thing is different as well. I really like that. So yeah, be open and willing to learn new ways of playing. That's what I would say. That's what I've been trying to do. Someone else asked about the specialized industry. Would like to know the impact they're making. Do you see a big increase in money? It's not like the industry DLC where you just start building this stuff up and suddenly you just have a ton of money. It was a bit like a pot of gold, isn't it? The industry's DLC. You don't have to go in and tweak it and fine tune it. You can just leave it to run its course. It might make the game a little bit harder for you. You can sort of dip your toes in it a bit. You can sort of use the charts and see that we've really got a demand. We need more stone because people use that for upgrading their houses and upkeep and stuff like that. So you might sort of make sure you build some more stone stuff. But other than that, you don't need to go that deep if you don't want to. But if you do, it's there. So that's good. There we go. So just a few questions that we had. So my overall feelings. So gameplay is different. I would say now your city is a growing, living beast like in real life cities are. Very rarely have I built an area and then not gone back to it to do something. Something will need updating or changing. Whereas Cities Skylines 1, you would build an area, it would be finished, it would be done, all their demands are met, that's it, you'd move on. Now some people will like that and some people won't, because some people want to craft a city that is finished and done. You might be able to do that to a certain extent, but from what I found, things will grow and change. Demands, needs, wants will change. And isn't that like real life? That is what citizens do. So I've enjoyed that. I've really liked it. I've liked the different gameplay. The game balance, I've liked the way the game is being balanced. It has been tweaked a lot in our testing. Even with this last sort of couple of updates, some things have been changed and tweaked a bit. And the version we've got now, I'm liking the way it's working. I don't know whether this is the final version or not, but if it was, I'll be very happy with it, so that's good. What did I enjoy the most? I enjoy learning, I really do, and I've really enjoyed learning to play the game. I've enjoyed the production chain. I've enjoyed the new road placing mechanics, really liking the fact that I can build some vanilla junctions without a load of mods or intersections, and they just look great. What have I disliked? We've had a few concerns that I've mentioned, but the lack of LUTs or that sort of thing at the moment, whether the ability to change the look of the city with the cinematic camera mode and the time-lapse mode, whatever the official names of those are, whether you'll be able to carry that over into the game. If you can, fantastic. If not, because of the way the game's made or whatever, or the reasons behind it. You plan to get a mod at some point. But yeah, it's a shame because I sometimes do like to tweak things in that regard. I just like the missing quality of life things that I mentioned earlier, and no bikes. But are these game changing? Are these killers for me? Would these stop me buying the game? Which really brings you to our last question. Would I recommend buying Cities Skylines 2? Well, of course, if you can afford it, then yes, I would, because I am really, really loving the game. I do have concerns, but I do have faith that Colossal Order will sort them out and fix them. We've seen them do it in the past with Cities Skylines 1. I really get the impression that they love their games as much as we do playing them. They really want to make the best game that they can. And they know what we expect. They know that we love this as well. So, yeah, there's things missing. Yeah, I know they're probably on a deadline to get things done and they're going to have priorities. It is a business at the end of the day, and I do understand that. Yeah, I'm going to have a bit of disappointment because of that. But it won't stop me really enjoying Cities Skylines 2, really enjoying bringing videos to you guys, and I just hope that the majority of people can be sort of level-headed about it. I do understand that it's a lot of money for a game. If I wasn't given the game, which of course I have been for the testing and all the help and everything that I've done, so I feel like I've given them a lot back, probably worth more than what the game is, but you know, I enjoy the game, so I didn't mind. But if I was just buying it myself with my well-earned money, yeah, I'd probably still have the same disappointments. But yeah, I'd still really enjoy the game. There's a lot in the game to enjoy. And I am most excited about where this journey is going to take us. We have got the base of a game, which I can see not even in 8 years' time. You know, we've had a few updates under our belt. Whatever happens with mods and assets, there will be. There's going to be so many. And it is just going to take off and just be a fantastic game. And I'm very excited for the future. I hope you are too. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that's been helpful and useful. I will see you all on the flip side, where we're making so many Cities Skylines 2 videos. We don't know what to do with ourselves. Have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.